Watchers is a 2024 supernatural horror movie, written and directed by Ashana Night Shyamalan and produced by M. Night Shyamalan. It's based on the novel of the same name by A.M. Shine. It stars Dakota Fanning, Georgina Campbell, and Olwen Fier. A young artist gets stranded in a vast forest in Northern Ireland, where after finding shelter, she becomes trapped alongside 3 strangers and stalked by mysterious creatures each night.
I don't mean to scare you, but we haven't much time. It's not wise to keep them waiting. They'll be very interested in someone new.
It's a window on the other side. They come every night.
And they watch us.
So there's been a lot of buzz about this movie going in because this is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. He produced it, so there's definitely buzz there. And from the trailer, it looks very interesting and like it's going to be a really good movie. And to be honest, it was. It's a good movie. I do enjoy it. It's not my favorite this year, and there are things about it I'm not a huge fan of. Some of those are just things that I'm just not a huge fan of in movies, but it's still a really well put together movie that I definitely was entertained by. Starting off with the positives, the cast do a great job in this. They really convey emotions and put you into these different scenarios in a really powerful way. I really enjoy the style of it. It just drips in atmosphere. Every scene, for at least the first 2/3 of it, just feels so dramatic and atmospheric and moody. And the cinematography is gorgeous in this. It takes place in Northern Ireland. And honestly, I found myself numerous times throughout this movie just thinking to myself, man, somehow, some way, I need to go visit this place because it is just stunning. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. It's just so full and green. But it also is what really leads this to becoming creepy, is because this forest is just so vast and it never changes. And from overhead, from like drone shots, it's amazing looking, it's gorgeous, but when you're down in it, it's just suffocating, it's claustrophobic, it's never ending. And I think that was the strongest element of this movie. There's just such a sense of mystery, like you see from the trailers, and at least for 2/3 of it, that drama, that mystery, that wondering what is out there in the dark, what is it that comes out, what creatures are these that come out every night. And little by little, there's more and more mystery, and it does a really good job of just kind of pulling you in as you get these little clues and little hints on what you think it is. And even as you start to really realize what exactly it is, there's still a great sense of mystery. But where I do go into some negatives and where I do feel like this movie fell a little short was when they started to reveal these entities and the way they look, especially. It's very CGI heavy. And even though they did a good job, I think for a lot of it was just kind of hiding it in the shadows to where you didn't see it too full on. It's just more CGI than I personally wish it was. I wish that we had gotten some more practical elements in this because it just immediately pulled me out. And I don't think everybody's going to be that way, but for me personally, it just pulls me away from a story. It just feels like I'm watching a cartoon all of a sudden. But stylistically, it is interesting, and what they did come up with for the look and style of the things in this, I do think it is creative. But leading down that road even more, the final act of this is where it really dropped the ball for me. And I don't think that's going to be the case for everybody. I think some people are going to really enjoy this and feel the charm and whimsy and all of that from this, but it gets more fantastical and less horror. Without spoiling anything, it just loses kind of a lot of that horror for me. And so instead of having that big ending, that crescendo, that this creepy atmospheric drama had been built from the wonder and the mystery of what it is, what it could be, it just kind of fell a little flat to me. And I don't think it's totally the movie's fault. Like I said, I think a lot of that is just me. I wanted something more horror, and instead I got something, like I said, more fantastical, more fantasy, more with a little more whimsy, something that just had a little more of a romantic kind of quality to it. And I don't mean it doesn't have any horror or that it's not creepy. It just doesn't feel as scary as I was hoping for. And just some of the CGI elements, it just reminded me a little too much of things I'd seen before, of kind of middle of the road horror movies that are fun. And if you're young in horror, you'll have a great time. but it's not anything that we're gonna really remember. And it's kind of a bummer because for 2/3 of this, like I said, this was onto something. I mean, the way this looks, the style of it, the pacing of it, the mystery and atmosphere and all that stuff was done so well, and the cast does such a killer job of really getting you invested in these characters, even though it doesn't give you a lot of backstory. You don't really know a lot about these characters, and I thought that was really something that kind of lended itself to being interesting, because you're in this room for a big chunk of this movie with these people you don't know, and you're kind of little by little getting to know them, but you don't quite know them. So there's this sense of uneasiness, this sense of not sure who you can trust and who might be a villain, or if everything you're hearing and seeing is all above board. And I think that's another element that I thought was done really well in this. I also appreciated the dialogue. I thought the dialogue in this, a lot of M. Night Shyamalan stuff, the dialogue is where it loses me a little bit. And even though it is his daughter, I don't think there is a ton of M. Night in this. It doesn't have these huge twists per se. It doesn't have the dialogue issues that I have seen in a lot of his stuff. It just felt original and different enough that I do think that as time goes by, she's gonna leave more and more of her own mark. Because I definitely don't think that the visuals or the creative ideas behind this, or the directing or editing, or really any of that, is what dropped the ball for me in this movie. I thought it was more of just the writing of it in general. Just the overall idea behind this is what fell a little flat to me, and I don't think it's gonna feel that way for everybody else. So for anybody that's in the mood for something atmospheric and moody and a little bit creepy but not really terrifying, I think this will be a good time. But would I say this is a can't miss, gotta get out to a theater and see? No, not really. I wouldn't say that either. Now, are you gonna enjoy yourself in a theater? Yeah, I think you will, but it will be still entertaining and enjoyable at home to stream. But I definitely think there's going to be a lot of mixed opinions on this. I don't think it's a game changer either way, but I do think some people are going to enjoy this more than others. But all in all, I was entertained by it, and I thought it was a solid movie.
They allow us to live because we follow their rules. You have broken too many.
But that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel and when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week. I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and help support the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me review another movie. And I'll see you guys next time.